Sure. Okay. So, Bill, when was the last time you saw somebody from Prudential?
Boy, oh boy, it's got to be 10, 12 years anyway. Yeah.
You remember who your last agent was?
No idea.
Okay. So, not sure what your relationship was with them, but like I told you over the phone, my role with the company is more as an advisor. So, when we sit down with somebody who hasn't seen anybody for 10, 12 years, typically what we'll do is run through a quick questionnaire just to get to know you a little bit better.
Sure.
That way, any advice or recommendations we make on the policy, we know in the bigger picture makes sense. Sound fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So we'll run through this. Start with the easy stuff.
Sure.
Have your birthday 6/20/51.
That's right.
Perfect. The phone number I've been calling you on, the one ending 5091.
That's the best one. Yep.
Best one. I think we got your address right.
Yep. Redneck Lane.
Redneck Boulevard. So we've been working at Rite Aid for 40 years now, huh?
Hard to believe it, but yeah.
Yeah. So how'd you get with them just right out of school?
I actually, right out of school, right out of pharmacy school, got a job as, kind of an associate and never looked back.
Off to the races
Yeah.
since.
Yeah.
And when are you thinking of hanging up the old lab coat?
Soon. Probably within the next, honestly, probably 6 months or so.
6 months.
Yeah.
6 months, great. And I got Billy and Rhonda on as beneficiaries on the policies. Any other children?
No, that's it.
Perfect. So, next thing we ask people to take a look at, knowing that what we do in our DeWitt office is focused more on the full financial planning side of things. We ask people to take a look at these 8 little check boxes over here, and what those represent are different financial priorities. Not all of them are going to be relevant to you, but typically we find at least 1 or 2 of them have been on the client's mind. So this is when we hand the pen over to you and ask you to draw all over that little sheet.
Just check boxes,
Yep.
okay?
Yep. You can draw if you'd like.
All right, so we'll do a smiley face in
Yeah.
there. And I would say that. So those 3 I would say are probably...
Okay, protecting assets, preparing for retirement, and organizing your portfolio.
Yeah, just want to make sure I'm in line,
Sure. Well, we'll kind of just take it bit by bit. When you say protecting assets, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, just making sure that they're protected from kind of doing what the market does and making sure I don't run out of money, I guess.
Sure. Do you so you're contributing to the 401k through Rite Aid right now? Great. You follow those investments closely?
I try not to get too crazy with it, but I've been paying a little bit more attention over the last couple of years. Sure.
Yeah. Especially when you're 6 months away from retirement, that could be a big deal.
Yeah. After 08, it was it's one of those things where I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm taking on too much risk.
Sure. Especially where we are now is kind of interesting, especially being 6 months out of retirement. What you don't want to have happen is retiring at the top of the market, which a lot of people did in 2008.
Right.
Where a year later their portfolio is half of what they expected to retire on.
Yeah, that'd be nerve-wracking for sure.
So that could be something we talk a little bit more about.
Yeah.
So on the preparing for retirement side of things, retiring in 6 months, just paint me a picture of kind of what your ideal retirement looks like.
I think ideally we just want to be in a spot where we're not having to worry about doing the things that we want to do. So if we don't feel like cooking dinner, want to go out to dinner, or if we want to take a vacation, or do the little things that we want to do. That it's not like we've got to check the checkbook to see what the balance is.
Right. Want to live comfortably.
Yeah, so I think that's the biggest thing. We're not going to have any kind of an extravagant lifestyle, but at the same point, we want to do the stuff that we want to do.
Only 5-star restaurants once a week.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So it's one of those things that we definitely have a couple of trips that are on the front of mind in terms of places that we've always wanted to go and just never have. Now we're going to obviously have the time to do that, but those won't be real typical. But they're priorities for us, at least in the short term.
Sure. Have you started to put together numbers as to what your actual retirement income is going to look like when you stop working?
Well, I guess that's kind of some of the stuff that I was hoping to accomplish today. I know that we're going to have Social Security, of course. My wife is 18 months younger than me. So, and ideally, we'd like to be able to both retire in a few months here. Maybe she'll work a day or two a week, and maybe me too. Just doing what I don't know what that got to do, but maybe have something just so it's not every single day, sitting around the house, and, doing whatever. But but outside of Social Security, we're just kind of relying on what we save. So
Where's your wife working?
She's at Kraus.
Great. What'd she do there?
She's an RN.
How long has she been doing that?
She's been in nursing for, she's 35, 40 years. Yeah.
So you think also ideally retiring in 6 months?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can kind of avoid the honey-do list. You guys will be retired together.
Right, she can do it.
Okay. And the last one was organizing your portfolio.
Yeah.
Why is that on your mind?
Same kind of thing. Just making sure that we're invested appropriately. Coming into retirement, I got to believe we've got to make some changes and put ourselves in a spot where we're not going to be open to some of the risks that we're open to right now. So just I want to make sure, like I said, that our ducks are in a row. So we have the ability to have that and get a comfortable retirement.
Sure. And that's something I do on a regular basis is work with clients like you who are getting close, and we call it the retirement red zone. Getting close to retirement, where you have to start getting those, like you said, ducks in a row.
Sure.
So that's definitely something I could help you out with.
As long as you're not calling plays like Pete Carroll, I'll be fine.
Don't even get me started. So before we get into that and really, talk about the investment side of things, let's take a look, kind of from the top down.
Sure.
How I typically do it is just get the not fun stuff out of the way and talk about, what sort of debts you'll be taking into retirement with you.
Yeah.
Typically the biggest is either a mortgage or a home equity loan.
Yeah, none of that. So we paid off the mortgage a couple of years ago.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, that was certainly a load off, and no intention of buying a new house or anything crazy. Maybe downsizing, but using the money that we've got in equity in the house to pay for a new one. I'm not taking on another mortgage. Though.
Sure. What about any car loans or anything like that?
Yeah, we've got car loans. Actually, my wife leases her car, and honestly, with the payments being the way that they are, I'll probably look to lease when my loan's up. I think that's probably in a year or so, 18 months. That
Okay, so finish paying the car off, and then once that stops working, just take a look at another lease.
Yeah, probably once I pay the loan off.
Really?
Honestly, probably jump to a lease. Yeah.
Sell the car, then go to a lease.
Yeah.
Use give it to Rhonda.
Yeah, Rhonda. Whatever little amount of equities in that car, use that for the down payment on the lease and get the payment down more. So yeah, probably run with that.
Did you take out any student loans or anything for Rhonda and Billy?
Nah, they're squared away. They're in their late 30s. They're in their late 30s now, so they're up and running.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah, that ship has sailed.
Good. What about your credit card situation? What's that like at the end of the month?
We carry a small balance on an Amazon card. My wife does her best to keep them in business. So carry a small balance, maybe anywhere from $500 to $1,000. But typically, we'll have that paid off unless she gets crazy and buys something. That's a little bit more expensive, or around the holidays or whatever, that might boost up a little bit. But typically speaking, not carrying any kind of a major balance that's has a crippling effect on our income.
Good. So it sounds like from the debt standpoint, you're not going to be bringing much into retirement with you.
Right.
Any other debts out there that didn't come up?
No, I think everything that we're going to have in terms of liabilities, quote unquote, in retirement is going to be, or payments in retirement is going to be things like our life insurance premiums from you guys, property taxes, utilities, cell phones, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. So in a good position debt wise.
Yeah.
Let's talk about income next. What are you used to bringing in now on an annual basis, I should say?
I make about 110.
Okay.
And she makes, call it 70.
70.
Yeah.
Okay. So call it grossing around 180,000.
Right.
Okay. So that's money coming in on on an average basis. This will fluctuate depending on how many times you go out or what holidays in the month.
Yeah. Right.
What
Flag Day.
Right, right. Got to get the Flag Day shirts.
Crazy.
What on an average monthly basis? How much money do you have coming out? Going out. I should
Yeah.
say.
I would say, when we're looking at, groceries and gas and, going out to eat and all that kind of stuff, I'd say probably in the neighborhood of, $5 grand, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay, and that's between the two of you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that 5,000 is that what you think you need coming in on a monthly basis once you stop working? Or is it a little bit more, a little bit less?
I would say it's probably that, and then on top of that, we're going to have those. I don't even know what the right word is, but those expenses that are going to pop up every once in a while, like
Sure.
for a trip or taking the grandkids somewhere or whatever it might be.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
But I would say that I don't imagine that those expenses are going to change drastically between now and 6 months from now.
Right, right. So let's talk about the income you'll have in retirement.
Yeah.
Any pensions or anything out there?
No, I think my wife's she'll have a small pension. I don't even know. It might be like $500 a month.
500 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's not from Kraus. That's from another.
That is from Kraus.
That is okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
she actually just started. She started with Kraus, probably 10 years ago. Prior to that, she was working for a private doctor's office. Didn't have any kind of pension there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. So small pension coming in. On the guaranteed income side of things, you'll have your Social Security.
Yeah.
What's the game plan there?
Probably take it right away at
Right at
65.
65.
Yeah.
When you retire, so you'd be retiring at 65.
Right.
Draw it once you retire.
Correct, and she'll be 63 at that point. We might wait till she's 64 to flip hers on,
Right.
which is just going to be a few months. So, for all intents and purposes, I mean, basically taking it right away.
Taking it right
Yeah.
away. Okay. In 6 months or so.
Yeah.
Have you looked at those numbers recently?
Yeah, so mine's like, I want to say it's about $2,000 a month.
Okay.
And hers actually isn't phenomenal because she wasn't making very much money at the private office.
Mm-hmm.
So just recently, her income is bumped up. So I think hers at 65. When I went on the website there, I want to say hers is like $1,400 a month.
Okay.
So it's going to be obviously a little bit less than that if she takes it at 63.
Right, right. So probably 6% less than that.
Yeah, so call it
around there.
Yeah, so probably call it 1,300 somewhere in that neighborhood for
Sure. So drawing Social Security right away. So that's bringing with the pension going to be drawn once she retires as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So on the guaranteed income side of things, it looks like we're not too far off from the 5,000 you think you need to live comfortably. You're at about 3,800.
Yeah.
So where's a little bit of a shortfall there?
Yeah.
What's the strategy there?
Well, you know what? I guess I'm not 100% sure. The idea is probably just to draw off of our retirement account, and that's why I said, I just want to kind of get organized with the portfolio and make sure that we can kind of make that up.
Okay. How much have you managed to put away at this point?
So in my 401k, I've got just shy of 400,000.
Okay.
So I've got I call it 390 in there. She's got a 403b through the hospital. Like I said, she's only been there about 10 years though. So she's got, I'm trying to think, call it 70 in that. And then, she got about 70 in that.
Okay. Did she, when she was at the private doctor, did she contribute to any sort of retirement account?
Yeah,
there?
and she was, she was in a 401k there. Was it a 401k? Whatever it was. It was a retirement account. And she got a little bit more there, maybe another 125 in that.
Okay. Any other retirement accounts that you may have contributed to over the years?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay, sure. So good amount saved up. Do you keep a good amount in your checking or savings? In case
Maybe about
anything?
25,000 in savings. Checking is kind of maybe keep $1,000 buffer in there, nothing crazy.
Right. So I like the number 25,000 just to keep that in your savings. That's 5 months expenses
Right.
if for whatever reason, something happened.
Yeah.
Market takes a big dive or anything. You have that big cushion.
You got it.
Okay. So you're going to plan on making up that $1,200 difference with your investments, the money you've set aside.
Right.
Have you thought about, where? So you have the different investments inside the portfolio.
Yeah.
You have your wife's account. You have yours. Have you thought about where that money is coming from?
I guess that's what I'm nervous about is I don't really know the right way to set that up. I mean, I suppose bonds is probably the safest bet, but at the same point, I also don't want to rely on them to with interest rates being so low right now. I could probably go take out a mortgage for 4% right now, so I got to imagine bonds aren't doing tremendously well.
Sure.
So I don't really. The plan is to do it, but again, I don't really know how to do it. So that's why you're.
Sure. That's why you let me in the door.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So, typically the strategy that we recommend for people in retirement is different buckets of money. You want different paychecks coming in.
Sure.
So one bucket is your guaranteed money, and the other is going to be your liquid account in case some liquid meaning accessible.
Sure.
In case you have the roof leak, you have to you want to go on a trip. So
Yeah.
you want at the same time you want a good amount coming in on a guaranteed basis, but you want a nice pool of money to draw from in case as things come up.
Sure.
So that's typically the strategy that we'll recommend. We use accounts at Prudential that are not designed for all of your assets, but the idea being carving out a portion of your assets that you've set aside to create another pension-like payment that you can't outlive.
Okay.
There's a lot of flexibility in it. We can add spousal benefits. There are a bunch of different ways to structure it, but the general idea being using accounts that are designed to make sure that $5,000 a month that you need coming in is coming in on a regular basis.
Okay.
What most companies will let you do, and it's something we'll have to check into, but most companies, once you hit 59.5, which you're over that, is do what's called an in-service distribution.
Okay.
And sounds fancy. Really, all that is just doing a tax-free, penalty-free rollover from your current employer-sponsored plan.
Yeah, I know actually a buddy of mine did that.
Really?
Yep. So I know that we can do it.
Great. How do you like doing it? Pretty confident when you did it?
I didn't really talk to him too much about it. He just said he was moving some money out of his 401k. I didn't really understand what he meant, but it's kind of coming together now.
Sure. And we don't do it just for the sake of moving money out, kind of shifting around the assets. We do that to start positioning them for guaranteed income in retirement.
Sure.
So, I could come back and show you some ideas. I'll have to go run some numbers for you and just see, kind of how I would structure it if I were in your situation. But the general idea would be doing a partial in-service rollover into an account now that's designed for when you retire to start, have a little bit more guaranteed income coming in.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, in retirement, it's not about the cash pile, it's about the cash flow.
Okay.
So, really, the main part of retirement planning is making sure that income you need coming in is coming in, and you have a good amount set aside, as things come up.
Sure.
So probably what would be optimal is maybe try to find a time where you and your wife can get together, really start putting together that picture. You have 6 months, which is a good amount of time to really start planning, getting, like you said, getting those ducks in a row.
Yeah.
So if you're open to it, I can put together some ideas for you.
Sure.
And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Sound fair?
That sounds good. Good.